there's that. You won't get half magic. You won't get anything really that great. And Andy is underway. 5 rupees house and 5 rupees in the sanctuary. 5 rupees are almost as common as 20s in expert mode because a lot of things get replaced with those.
Yeah. So other things about expert mode, while you can get a bunch of bottles, potions, not really all that useful. You can only get about a quarter magic refill with a green potion. I think a red potion only gets you 1 heart.
1 heart, that is correct.
We get a maximum of 9 hearts with a single heart container and a bunch of heart pieces.
That is the case.
So it looks like Andy is doing the traditional uncle route, not really getting much for it. Whereas
just
Furaime
looks like a couple of big 20s there in the uncle's tunnel.
And Furaime is not going to be checking Lumberjack. Going to be getting some money from this bush crab. Oh, he is checking.
He changed his mind. He's going to the Lumberjack. We did get a Stalfos Knight falling from the sky where you expect a bush crab. Whoa! We got a mirror.
So the thing is,
Lumberjack.
Yeah, the thing about this is all dungeons. We need that mirror, but we also do need to, do Agate Tower eventually. The only thing is, if you're playing an all dungeon seed, if you're lucky, you can just hold that off until it's the last thing you do just before Ganon, and then you're right there at Ganon.
But since we know the mirror is there, that may not be a luxury we have. We did just get a sword here in the Lost Woods, and Andy picking up additional bombs from the tree poles. Furaime also following suit.
Yep, both of our runners heading towards the same location.
And the
get the
bow! Okay, we got ourselves a plan. Now, I have a question for you.
What's that?
So, first of all, Randomizer, only one place requires the bow.
Yeah,
one place.
That is Palace of Darkness, that little statue.
Everything else has been altered. The logic there.
Yeah.
To take that into account.
But while we're not going to be seeing any ammo upgrades, plus I think they've been removed from the pool entirely, I don't know if we can even buy them. But the bow is actually a really good weapon to have, just in general. Against such bosses like Vitreous that we might be seeing up to, 5 of today.
There is that. Now, the problem with Vitreous is if you want to take him out with just arrows, you're not going to have enough.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a total of 41. There are the boots and blinds hut for Andy. All right, if you wanted to see Andy do his thing with boots, there you go.
Yeah,
and turning into fish.
Yeah, I like that. I like that play. Getting some early stuff, some early rupees, because he wasn't guaranteed the ability to buy from the bottle merchant, and I think now he will be able to. Maybe not though.
Well, he's actually 8 rupees shy of a guarantee if he lifts up all the pots. But you can just jump down and lift them again if you really need them.
Yeah, there's 50 rupees in the pots here.
Wow,
these two
Andy has found the Master Sword, and that's all he's going to get. We also find a blue cane, a blue potion, and a lamp.
Wow.
In Kakariko Well. So, I have a question for you. Is this seed screaming go to Eastern Palace, and how badly is it screaming that?
It's like a Wilhelm scream level.
Ah!
I can't even do it justice. That was pretty good.
Like, that was just garbage.
But yeah, Master Sword. I always love this house with Randomizer. Apparently, this old lady is storing a bunch of Hyrule guards.
Chicken hut for days. Yeah, it's basically the guardhouse now. Remy's like, nope.
Dying in Kakariko Village, something you only usually see in Randomizer. But again, we kind of have the majority of our offense right now.
And there we go. Furaime using the bow, and there's the moon pearl, in the back of the tavern for Andy.
Now, another thing, with that Master Sword, with that lamp, we have the ability to do Agate Tower, and we know what Agate Tower unlocks, especially with those boots. So I'm wondering if the mirror is going to be very important early on in the story of.
There is that. I am being told though that like there's a current bug with the swords where it doesn't consider the second in logic. So the logic would expect you to have the cape to do it.
Well, maybe we'll be seeing that soon enough. Alright, so Andy is checking the south shore of Hyrule here. Gonna be checking out the dam first, getting 2 items here, and probably heading over to Mini Moldorm Cave. Is a bush crab? Wait, is a bush crab a spike?
Well, something there is a spectre. I think that might be like the jumping bunny guy.
I meant the bush guard, but
yeah. Alright, Furaime picking up the 5 rupees in Link's house, and also heading to South Shore.
Yeah, it's a fairly standard route. You'd have to be, oh my goodness, a hammer right there. There's more of our offense.
Well, alright, that is the most powerful weapon that our runners will be acquiring until the silver arrows, and those will only work on Ganon.
And he ran into another spike trap under the grass. Ganon's extra shifty today.
Alright, so Mini Moldorm Cave for Andy, 1 actual Mini Moldorm and some Mini Helmasaurs. Andy's just going to... Andy's going to let them fall into holes today.
That seems a little cruel. But, you know, whatever floats his boat, I guess.
Alright, just some cash. We've got a blue boomerang and a piece of heart. Now, those boomerangs are mostly useless in this particular mode. They can pick things up for you, but that's about it. There's no stunning to be had with those boomerangs. The same is also true for the hookshot in expert mode.
Alright, with the boots, it makes checking this cave here a non-issue. I mean, you can still get bopped by an enemy with 3 hearts, but thankfully, it's probably going to be a lot less dangerous in general. You know,
alright, 10 arrows for that Ice Rod Cave location. It looks like Andy is stepping outside. I think he armed the water walking glitch there.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta watch out for the fire bars in the water. How they don't get extinguished.
That makes sense.
Andy is just going right up here, which I think is a good idea because he can get a double water walk stored here and potentially grab whatever's on the Zora ledge. If that doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, if you've got... The thing is, to do the double water walk, you'd have to have not used the one you already got. Like, you'd have to have it stored and then do a fake flipper to get into this water. And then use that to get out of the cave there and then swim up to Zora. Or just use the water walk you got from the cave, that is.
That might be what he is doing now, or maybe he's just going to check the hobo and, you know, skedaddle, but...
Yeah, I think this is just a hobo check and get out.
Okay. Ether.
Ether medallion on the hobo seems good. both runners electing to forego the Zora check right now, and that is just fine, considering the complete lack of cash.
Yeah. Wow, we got some nice traps on the bridge here. Ganon really stepping up security once again.
Security provided by Admiral Akbar today. And Andy, looking at the back of Sahasrah's closet, we've got 20 rupees, 5 rupees, and 20 rupees. Nice little symmetrical arrangement, but still nothing to write home.
Yep. So Furaime is going into the castle. I'm wondering if he's gonna. Oh, first he's gonna check Uncle. But I'm wondering if he's gonna go directly towards Agahnim at this point, or if he's gonna, go downstairs.
Good question. You could make the play on Agahnim, just expecting the cape to come pretty soon and get that mirror, because Furaime knows about the mirror, Andy doesn't.
That is true. And Andy, heading into Eastern Palace, 3 items in here. We have the ability to clear it. It is a crystal, so, we have to do all the dungeons regardless, but this will get you into Ganon's Tower just in case Ganon's Tower locks progression to get one of the pendants.
Alright, so Andy picks up the big key in the first chest. In a perfect world, he'll pick up 3 items in the next few chests and not have to head to the vanilla big key chest. But that is usually wishful thinking.
Alright. Got a heart piece here. They are a bit more precious in this mode.
Yeah.
Furaime finds another heart piece now.
Nice. Chat is making a pretty good point. It's not guaranteed that Andy can clear Eastern Palace, because we are in Randomizer, and Randomizer is a mess.
Yeah, it is possible that we need one or both of our rods, or I guess just both of them. But there's our flippers, so Ether's in logic now, and whatever's at Zora is also in logic, as well as whatever's on the ledge.
Straight up useless hint in Eastern Palace. And Furaime heads to Zelda's cell. And Whoops. Andy has entered the guardhouse part 2, the back of Eastern Palace. Gonna have to locate which one of these guards has the key. Guardhouse part 2, also known as Lag House.
Yep. He says, enough is enough. I'm gonna make it even laggier. Actually, I don't think it could get even laggier.
Alright, so we've got a map in Zelda's cell, and Furaime takes the death, which means I think he is intended on going to the back of escape here.
Yep. Now, I'm wondering if he'll take another death at the end of this, and then just go up to Agate. Oh, well, he could take another death here from this roller, which I'm pretty sure will one-shot him now.
Alright, so this room for Andy turning out to be not nearly as evil as I tend to think it is. We got Helmasaur King, which is 100% clearable, given our hammer and bow and sword and all that situation.
Ooh. Furaime takes a death.
Ooh. Must have been some pretty nasty enemies in the back of escape, and looks like Furaime is like, how about no? And is deciding to head to Agate Tower.
Yep. And Andy picking up the first crystal of this race, whereas Furaime says, I'm gonna go fight a witch. Honestly, I don't know, the item layout if it weren't for that sword glitch you were referring to earlier, it would be screaming Aga Tower. But Andy is heading up that way as well.
Looks like it. He may also decide to try to go to the back of Escape or the front of Escape first.
Well, probably. A lot of runners try to avoid going into Escape entirely if they don't have to, but if you have to, might as well just go downstairs. And this is not a very nice tower.
It's like Lionel says hi.
Lionel, to yourself.
Exactly. The Lionels, they do have a fairly predictable movement script, so runners who know what they're doing can manipulate them to not take any damage.
This room is pretty nice. Those thieves, they are no longer invincible in Randomizer. I mean, they haven't been for a while. Oh my goodness, Andy! Getting bopped by a...
And Andy is summarily bodied there. Trying it again. Furaime is going to be able to check a hint here in Aga Tower, and that is actually a useful hint this time. We've got some caches above the pose, meaning we do not need to go visit the graveyard ledge.
Yep. Furaime using the game knowledge that Hynexes die with a single bomb. Even though they throw them all day, they've never hurt themselves with a bomb.
Yep, they're immune to their own bombs, but of course if they take one of yours, they just immediately explode. I'm assuming it's because they have all those bombs on them and they just immediately explode in turn, like all of them explode at the same time.
That's some good lore right there.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good lore situation.
Alright, so we're entering phase 1 of the Geometry Wizard himself on Furaime's side. Andy just going downstairs. His next move will determine whether or not we're seeing something new, or just seeing him do the same thing Furaime's been doing.
And that is a good question I saw in chat about whether or not the runners will be more likely to light random torches, just so you can see what you're dealing with. I mean, it seems likely, it seems possible, but there's fewer random torches than you think there are. Like, in a lot of rooms, you just can't, there aren't torches to light, even if you want to.
Alright, Andy, going the same direction Furaime tried to go to earlier.
See if he can survive the absolute nightmare that is downstairs.
Yeah, the gauntlet of tricks and traps.
Ooh, that is mean.
You made it.
Like, that is a very small window to get through that.
The room Andy just went through could be very dangerous in Randomizers. Ooh, I think he just got the same thing that got Furaime. A Lionel just waiting in the middle of the... I think in expert mode, Lionels are probably about as dangerous as they are in Breath of the Wild, just in general.
Possibly. The thing with expert mode is, of course, the Lionels aren't going to take any damage from your sword except from a spin, kind of like Ganon.
And Andy's
going for it again.
Well, you can manipulate them, like you were talking about earlier. So now that he knows they're there, I think he's going to be able to get by.
Yeah, and if nothing else, you can intentionally take a fireball and not die. Okay, so we see that Andy did not pick up a small key, so there's no need to go to the back. It is, in fact, out of logic without the glove.
Yep. Andy also going up Aga Tower. Furaime gonna check Bonk Rocks, I think.
Seems legit. Also probably gonna go get that mirror.
Oh yeah.
There's that glove.
So that's gonna be good for Furaime because I don't know. I believe he didn't get that chest, right? Or did he?
I don't think he got the blue rupee in the back there.
Yeah. So he'll be able to at least go backwards and grab it, and also the 3 chests at the backside of the sanctuary. But
I mean, having a little bit of indecision about which way to go. Should you go pick up the mirror, or should you go over to like the back of Escape? We just got this glove. What's going on? So, of course, the glove grants you access now to the Dark World as well.
Yep. Probably either going to head up the mountain right now, or I guess just doesn't like dead rocks. He's like, I'm taking my toys and I'm going home.
And we did see that Andy had a bit of an unfortunate mishap on the way up Aga Tower. More Lionels causing imminent destruction.
Furaime is tantalized by these 3 chests. He's going to be heading down here and checking what's what. And then he'll probably backtrack towards that chest if he missed it. Because he does get a small key here. And just some garbage money. Yep, looks like he didn't get the chest.
Yeah. So for those of you wondering, the expert difficulty, the Cane of Burna does not grant invincibility. It does still do damage, but it doesn't grant invincibility, which is why when Andy attempted to use the Cane of Burna, it did not work. Now, the exception to that is that it does work in rooms where it might be required to get places in one piece. So, for example, Spike Cave, like the Spike Room in Misery Mire, that sort of thing.
Yep. So Furaime remembers about the Lionel this time and gets his reward of a whopping 5 rupees. And we're probably going to be seeing an entrance into the Dark World pretty soon. I do believe we were able to check Sick Kid earlier on, so we're not going to be able to do... Well, there's no reason to do that.
Alright,
Wait.
So Furaime looks like he's headed for Death Mountain today.
Yeah, that's not bad. Furaime, like, I would have succumbed to muscle memory there and just went off to the side, but he correctly saw that there was nothing dangerous to prevent him from taking the path he took there, and saved like a second.
Alright, time to rescue an old man.
Mm-hmm. But I think being able to make like snap routing optimizations like that is a big thing in Randomizer, especially something as uncertain as Enemizer.
Another piece of heart, and I'll tell you, in expert mode, I will take every piece of heart you will throw at me.
Oh yeah, even getting up the mountain here is no simple task if you only have 4. Oh no!
The spin speed treating Furaime a little bit wrong there, as he slightly misses the ledge to check Spectacle Rock Cave there.
Yeah, he tried to set it up again, but realized it's probably better not to do it. Don't want to have a repeat. Alright, time to get our 50 rupees, not bad, and a free hint to go along with. Some bombs held by someone friendly. Wow.
Speaking of some bombs, Furaime going for the bomb jump here. I think he might be a... Nope, he got it. Okay.
Was that like a fortune? Is Furaime the friendly person?
Could be.
Whoa! That was an interesting bush guard. It looked like a bird, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a Lionel's head, but it was also a bird. There are some interesting graphical glitches in Randomizer. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, especially once you get to the end credits, or not the end credits, just before the credits, like the ending.
Oh yeah, the final the ending roll is a treat in Randomizer.
Yeah, it's honestly a little unnerving. It's like I don't know how that got the Nintendo seal of approval, but get some old news here in our first hint in
All right, Andy gets the piece of heart on the pyramid and decides to head over toward the east. There's a lot of different directions you can go from here. It looks like he's probably going to head for Hype Cave.
So I love these bomb strats by Furaime. They do kill those Pingus in one hit. The only thing is he was kind of low on bombs, and he's going to need some once he gets over towards East Death Mountain. But you do get a few in here.
I know there's at least one in this room. The bottom of this 3 on the left. Flute for Furaime.
Yep. That is our second item here. Second and final item here in
the middle of the 3. Excuse me, I was wrong. Oh, I just missed Hype Cave.
I did it. I missed it entirely as well. But yeah, we have the flute here in Hera. I think that's a bit more hype, potentially.
Apparently Book was in Hype Cave.
Ooh, we have a 3-eyed Moldorm today.
Ooh.
I've seen up to 5.
I think I've seen the full 8 at some point. I like to number these based on valence electrons, so I call it the boron Moldorm.
Okay.
I don't know why my brain thinks of chemistry class when I see eyes around Moldorm, but there you go.
I don't know. He does kind of look a bit like it, though. Furaime does get his first pendant. Again, this is all dungeons, so it is required to get all the pendants if you're unawares. But yeah, we're going to be seeing Paradox Cave here in a minute. There's a sword, or shield, rather. And I believe there's 3 actual shields in the pool, so he doesn't even need to care about that, even if he really, really, really wanted it. Well, this seed is really doing well in terms of placing his Lionels.
Yeah, that was a sick Lionel right there.
Alright, Furaime finding some extra bombs while Andy gets his glove. So, I mean, Andy is a little bit behind in progression, but he has done a dungeon that Furaime hasn't done yet. And he's already probably going to be heading up the mountain soon with the gear he has.
Speaking of up the mountain, here is Furaime heading into Paradox Cave. 7 glorious chests, all of which will probably be garbage.
Oh yeah. Well, there's our shield. Now we don't need to go grab that other one on the mountain or on the lonely. I gotta say, I love the fact that we're finding dead rocks inside bushes.
Quake! Alright, so slightly above expectation, we did find the Quake Medallion inside Paradox Cave, which is a wonderful item for a couple of reasons. Could be used to open a dungeon, also kills dead rocks.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't kill them if they've already been stoned. And all of the dead rocks we're finding are under bushes while we're charging through them. But it looks like Furaime is going to be getting his first look into Hype Cave. Andy is heading up the mountain like I thought he would be. A little low on health, but doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, so I expect Furaime here to do the wonderful Wonderful play. Uh-oh, Andy getting across that gap there with some fancy footwork.
Let's see if he can do the return trip, and he makes it. This is why we pay him the big bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, you might pay him. I'm not giving him nothing. All right. So once again, seeing that map check, just a little refresh on that. We've got Green Pendant over at Misery Mire. We've got 5 and 6 at Swamp and Skull Woods.
Wait, did my eyes play tricks on me? Did Furaime just give up a piece of heart there?
Well, I mean, he is the one who chose this mode.
My eyes might have actually just been playing trick. Alright, so we're going to be able to see digging game here. I don't believe Andy has done this.
Andy did do the digging game.
Yeah,
I believe it was just bombs.
Okay. But
after what looked like about 14 digs, I think? I can't remember.
Yeah, but Furaime is also going to be able to mirror here and go activate the flute and then head back into Dark Kakariko. And probably just do, like, I don't know, Thieves Town.
I also really expect the combination Eastern pod play pretty soon.
Yep, there is our activated flute. So
Everybody say hello to everyone's favorite swag duck as Andy climbs up Tower of Hera, doing the same thing. Gonna find that flute as well. Gonna be pretty important. Well, maybe. May not actually be necessary at all.
I gotta say, some cache requires a bomb is probably one of the least useful hints I have seen.
Alright, so Furaime now is fluting off to 5. As I expected, the Eastern Pod double play is happening.
Yeah, it's a good play. I mean, you have to do both the dungeons regardless, and you can clear both of them. Well, potentially. You know, there's always the threat of Trinex just lurking around every corner. But Andy having a bit of trouble dashing through that bumper. Fell down twice, losing a bit of time there. He was able to top off his health up here, and will be able to bring down his own three-eyed Moldorm.
And Furaime dealing with Sahasrah's home, and we will now head over to Palace of Darkness. Good old Kiki with some exploitation about to take place.
Yeah, and in expert mode, I mean, money isn't necessarily guaranteed, but we do have a bunch of it right now. Furaime getting bopped by a skull. That was very rude.
Gross.
I mean, that skull was basically a re-dead because Furaime couldn't even move there. He was frozen in fear.
I'm gonna go ahead and not make the re-dead scream.
That's a good choice.
We've got Bombos for Furaime in the first chest of Pod.
And he actually took that skull pop and used it to set up a death warp. Like, just more like snap routing decisions, or snap like I don't know, execution / routing / general being smart.
That seems like the sort of thing I would do if I was being driven nuts by a heartbeat myself. And Andy going for some more glorious hover strats.
Are you in an Edgar Allan Poe tale? Never mind. So this hallway Furaime's in is not so harmless in Randomizer, but it was pretty harmless in it. And looks like we have some keys to continue onward, but Furaime's probably going to clear out the front side of this dungeon.
Yep. Now, of course, the key logic for Pod dictates that at least 4 of the first 6 chests here will always be small keys. Could have all 6. That's a rare occasion. But I have seen 5 pretty often as well.
Yep, so we're pretty much just
But
just gathering.
I thought the map chest on the right-hand side was definitely not a key, and with bombos not being a key, those should have been guaranteed keys.
It's possible. I used to know this logic a bit better.
I was wrong.
Okay.
The one on the map was a key. I'm a dumb.
Oh, wow. That's a nice roller.
Beautiful. That seems like the sort of thing that could definitely throw somebody for a loop. Even excellent runners such as these.
Alright, I'm a bit surprised Furaime isn't taking this time to get a bit more money, but I guess he has about exactly enough money to beat.
Andy just picked up the Titan's mitts in the chess game.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised that Furaime didn't even bother to check Village of Outcasts first when he was in the area.
I mean, I think you can just flute back to 3 anyway, and this is 2 dungeons you can clear right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
And Palace of Darkness, I mean, we had some initial hype in the form of the Bombos medallion, or aka our final medallion. But other than that, it's been kind of a tame dungeon.
Yep.
He's just gonna leave.
Interesting play.
I'm wondering if that's just in case, I don't know, by some stroke of luck, he finds 2 rods in here and Trinex is in Palace of Darkness, or if he's just planning on leaving Palace of Darkness.
That does seem like a reasonable position to be in. Like if you wanted to know for sure, or if you wanted a greater chance of being able to kill these bosses, coming to clear East.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like the hookshot could be in here from Furaime's perspective, and Argus could be in Palace of Darkness. So there's any number of scenarios in which coming into and clearing Eastern Palace might be more beneficial. But,
Andy finding the big key there in Thieves Town, and just 10 arrows. He's gonna try to clear this out, I imagine.
I do like using sword beams to clear out that Stalfos room, the spawning Stalfos room. It's, I think, slightly faster than using the pots or even menuing and getting the bow.
Yeah, the sword beam strats, I believe, are basically the fastest. I just realized earlier I said we might not need the flute, and that's dumb because it's all dungeons.
Yeah, I've been playing too much Combo Miser recently, so when I think of not needing the flute, I think of Lower Norfair, but that's a different. So It seems like the runners did get the God Eastern Palace and didn't even have to check the East Wing, going
It
towards
looks like it.
the Vanilla Big Key location.
Speaking of God Palaces, Andy just found out that Left Side Swamp is 100% Garbo.
Yeah, that's definitely a godsend hint, especially for a lot of runners who hate Left Side Swamp. I don't know why anyone would hate Left Side Swamp, but
because it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it's fun. Alright. Helmasaur is giving a nice little pattern here. I love it when Helmasaur gets right up in your face and does the tail swipe, because you can get a million little hammer hits on his helmet. Furaime, do not get bopped again. Another thing to notice or mention about Randomizer is that Andy did not break the ceiling here, or not the ceiling, the floor here in Thieves Town, and that's because you don't actually need to bring the maiden. Like, she just doesn't exist. The fight is already.
In Randomizer, in Thieves Town, the boss is just always there.
Now, the thing about that is, even if it's blind, the fight is already activated, and blind is actually harder because you don't get the benefit of abusing his path.
Yeah, so I imagine our runners might have trained a little bit on the post, on the second blind fight.
Yeah.
In preparation for this. Now, Andy finding out Argus is our blind today, which means we need the hookshot to beat it.
Yep. I mean, we definitely know we need the hookshot at some point, but now Andy knows he's just going to need it to finish that dungeon, and that's pretty much all there is to it. But on the plus side, getting to the boss in Thieves Town is actually really quick. Especially with the boots.
Yeah, and there's a similar thing you could say with what Furaime did in Pod here. He went into Eastern to pick up a few more items, because once you've mirrored to the front of Pod to go back in, you might as well.
So I guess my eyes were actually playing tricks on me. The cave south of the Haunted Grove is actually just 50 rupees. So it makes sense why.
Alright, Furaime doing some good old-fashioned ether strats and getting some varied drops because of that. The ether strats are frozen enemies when you kill them with the hammer. I mean, the item pool is still randomized, but the drop, I believe, is guaranteed.
So, speaking of blind and bad patterns, blind just sort of hugs these spikes in this room until he comes back down to the bottom. But Furaime has sword beams and was using them to good effect.
Sword beam strats on blind are pretty sick. Just need 3 more hits. There we go. He's down. 5 more rupees and a crystal for Furaime. Now, of course, we don't get anything important.
Yep. Andy did pick up the shovel here from Peg Cave, showing off a little tech. If you're carrying something when you walk through a portal back to the Dark World, you just don't go into the portal. So a lot of runners will just pick up or put down a bomb, pick it up, walk through.
Yep, that is a entirely useful strategy. Looks like Furaime is headed to 6, and it looks like a trip into desert. Interesting.
This is actually a little sad, knowing what we know.
Yeah, with the Titans meets over in Village of Outcasts, he could have done what Andy's doing and combined Mire and
check, desert, all those other locations, Checkerboard Cave.
Though we can't actually finish Mire on account of no Cane of Samaria just yet.
Yeah, well, there's no saying that the cane can't be inside of Mire.
Yeah, that is a fairly common occurrence and extremely annoying.
Wow. That spike trap is incredibly rude. Just walk away. I agree, just walk away from that spike trap. That room is just crap.
Another 300 rupees for Andy, ruining his perfect 3 to the 6th rupee total. And
I'm a bit surprised he took that.
Furaime going for more bomb strats on the Hinoxes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, managing not to hit him twice. Would it be Hinoxes?
I don't know. Furaime just can't wait to bomb some Hinoxes.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of on board with getting a lot of money when it's available in Expert, because while those potions don't do a whole lot, sometimes they're gonna be pretty useful, especially for things like Ice Palace or the eventual GT climb, which could contain some seriously annoying bosses.
Yeah, I mean, even with only 25% magic regen from them, I still think they're probably worth having.
That 25% is enough for a Bombos, which would make for a pretty good, Randomizer gauntlet room if necessary.
Yeah, there's so many situations I've had in randomizers where I'm just like one fire rod or ice rod cast short of killing Trinex or, Mothula or Cold Stare. And it's just frustrating.
Andy did not complete Thieves Town because Argus was the boss, unfortunately. Now, Andy is also heading through Desert Palace. Now, Andy could, when he's done here, decide to check out Mire. I'm really surprised with that early bow that there wasn't anything important in
Palace of Darkness or
Palace of
Eastern.
Darkness.
Yeah, well, them's the breaks in randomizers. Sometimes the seed is trying to tell you something, but it's actually talking in a different language.
Magic potions are 1/4 effective. Goodness, it's gloriously awful.
Oh, we got ourselves an Armos fight. Looks like Furaime's going for a different quick kill setup than I'm used to, but pulls it off very
quick kill. The reason, so the bottom right quick kill is sort of an older version of it, but the other reason it's good is because it still works on Ice Armos.
Ah, that is true. And also, like, if you find Armos in, say, Helmasaur's room or another boss arena that, I don't know, has weird terrain, I guess that's another reason why you'd want to practice that particular.
Yeah, there is that. Furaime heading into Agahnim's cave.
Yeah, so far Andy did get some knowledge, which isn't really applicable to Furaime because Furaime already has all the medallions. And Andy also got some rupees, and that's about it. That's all he got from checking the Mire area.
All right,
so while Furaime So while Furaime might spend some time in a little bit going back to the Mire area, if he doesn't do that, he's not missing anything.
Now, it does look like Furaime is going to go ahead and head to the west side here, over to Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods, that area. So we'll get to see what that looks like.
Yep. Andy is probably heading over to Palace of Darkness right now.
So both of our runners kind of trading places now. Andy looks like he might head for Catfish real quick.
I can endorse this move. He'll probably also check out. Come on, Zarby, please. Anyway, he'll probably also check out Zora.
And Furaime picking up those good old-fashioned Titans mitts.
Andy actually missed throwing the skull into the circle.
Yeah. He was going for like the task strat where you kind of break it on the edge, but it still counts.
And he also setting up for the quick warp or quick mirror. Get 30 frames saved if you get the quick mirror. Yeah. If you didn't know that, if you're watching this, you don't know why runners will often bonk off of that ledge when Catfish is surfacing. It's to set up the X position to get a quick mirror, and that saves a short amount of time.
Every fourth X pixel gives you a quick mirror, depending on where you are. I don't know exactly which one it is, and it varies depending on where the camera is positioned.
Wow, Furaime using a bonk to get over that pokey. I love these little strats in Randomizer. Oh, there's our hookshot in the King's Tomb.
Wow, King's Tomb hookshot feels good. That was actually available pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the ability to get to the Dark World really quick.
Though I guess technically the mirror is still out of logic without that cape.
Yeah.
Because of the bug.
I guess that's true. But we don't need the mirror, because we could have just gotten the Titan's mitts from Village of Outcasts.
The Titan's mitts put it way in logic.
And another Lionel in a slim corridor. Does the seed know? Like,
Furaime going for the Argus check, or for the boss check here in Thieves Town first, before he heads downstairs.
I think that's good, because now that he knows, he doesn't have to backtrack to it. He can just mirror out of here.
Yeah, that's a reasonable play.
I mean, even if it was a boss he could have cleared, I think the time spent getting to that key door that he just went through from the entrance is less than backtracking from downstairs up to the boss. Maybe it's at least comparable.
Alright, so Andy is about to make use of everyone's favorite Titan's mitts and hammer to check Dark Death Mountain. We've got Quake as the entrance medallion for Turtle Rock. That is the vanilla. And despite Andy's hovering prowess, I don't expect him to try to go through the front of Turtle Rock. He will, however, come in and check the hint.
Okay, that's a good hint, actually. That tells us that the red crystals, the 5 and 6 crystals, do not mean anything in this seed. Outside of, just needing them in general.
All right. Speaking of which, Andy now heading into Hookshot Cave. We've got 20 rupees. The Cane of Samaria. The Cape.
Another red item? Aw.
Aw. You had to ruin the color coordination.
It's always that fourth chest, man. It's a slacker. But yeah, like the cane, the cape, those are two really good items. The cape does give us logical access to the mirror, even though we've had it for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's checked Bumper Cave either, so that's another thing that can be a thing.
I don't think anybody has, and we did have that hint about the graveyard ledge, which kind of diminishes the incentive for checking.
All right, so Andy is gonna go into Turtle Rock now without the fire rod.
I like
or
it.
The ice rod. It's a decent play. Like, you don't necessarily need the ice rod because of Randomizer shenanigans, and the fire rod is only necessary if there's stuff on the right-hand side of this room. So far, so good. We can proceed to the Chain Chomp room.
Yeah, and the fire rod could very easily be here in Turtle Rock. So, I mean, I think it's just I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up whether or not it's a good idea or not. It's a time investment, but it could.
I'm pretty much concurring with one of my friends from chat there, who says that the fire rod is probably an ice palace.
Yeah. I mean, we do have the Bombos medallion already, at least on Furaime's end. But Andy did find the big key in the Chain Chomp room. So he is stuck in Turtle Rock until he finds that fire.
Yep. There is a situation in Turtle Rock where you can, completely skip out on the fire rod getting to the back, but it is very rare.
Alright, Andy looks like he's going to be clearing out Palace of Darkness. Furaime just doing some more overworld.
So we're gonna get that purple chest turned in. Furaime is really gonna want to get that Argus, or the hookshot from King's Tomb. That's what I said, Argus, but that's what I meant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, the thing about that is, getting to King's Tomb is really fast. It's just, when do you go there? Like, if you have all these movement options, the mirror and the flute, saving and quitting happens a lot less often. And getting to King's Grave, like, the most reasonable way of getting there is to do that. Especially that we know that the graveyard ledge is not required.
And Furaime achieves his 6th heart container. And begins the check into the Misery Mire area. Now, as we know, Furaime, or Andy did not bother checking Misery Mire proper. Furaime might go for it. He's going to be disappointed that he won't find the cane, but that might be something you do.
I mean, the thing about going into Misery Mire without the cane is that it seems like more often than not, you're looking for an item until you fully clear that, the top side of Misery Mire. And then you just leave and come back later, and it's no big deal.
Yeah. The only downside, of course, is having to clear that second mire room more than once. Of course, these runners have that down to a science. Furaime deciding not to pick up the bounty of rupees that Checkerboard Cave provides. Oh, it's the Ice Palace play.
I'm honestly, I mean, I guess he doesn't have hookshot yet, so that's why this play is good for him. But the longer he puts off grabbing that hookshot, I think the more advantage Andy is going to have, at least in terms of his routing options.
Maybe he'll get a hint for it.
Wow.
Not from that.
Old and also not very interesting news.
Alright, so Furaime heading through the front of Ice Palace. Andy, of course, heading through Pod, which we've seen all the chests in here already. Now, Furaime has found himself in a room with 5 Popos and a Gibdo. Those are some significantly different enemies, let's put it that way.
Yeah. The big key is our first item in here. Not really the item I'm looking for. I'm always looking for a small key right off the bat. This is an interesting set.
It looked awful, and it's actually not. It's like super easy. It's like you walk in, it's like, oh no, and then, oh, never mind.
Oh, Furaime having a bit of trouble here. He's just gonna give up. Oh, never mind. Gonna try it again.
Second hint,
wow.
Garbage fire all day.
These are some amazing...
Hang on a minute.
What?
So, it looked like the bomb exploded, and Furaime hit the Hinox at the same time, and it treated it like the bomb hit the Hinox.
I thought he threw a bomb on it.
Well, I think it was past him. Like, maybe I just didn't see it.
Yeah, but Furaime is now out of health to do a bomb jump.
You actually cannot do the bomb jump right now. What you could do is come down here. Well, okay, now he's got a potion. You can lift this switch, get the heart. You could go back out and try to do the bomb jump.
Well, considering... Okay, here's the weirdness here. Is doing Ice Palace this way without the Cane of Samaria means that you're kind of stuck full clearing the dungeon the way Vanilla wanted you to do it. Unless I'm forgetting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the trying to do this without the bomb jump is kind of the worst. And he's going to have to do another bomb jump here in a second because he doesn't have a hook shot.
Yeah, well, this one's easier, at least. Piece of Heart is in Ganon's Tower. That's just amazing.
Garbage hints all day long. Basically, the only hint that's been of any real relevance as far as good items has been the one for the boots, which is guaranteed.
Did Furaime just burn a bunch of floating torsos?
That is what happened.
It's like very Lynchian. Anyway. We got a guard hut here, nice palace.
And as we see, this is another one of the rooms where the Cane of Berna does its job. And you'll also note that the increased magic consumption of the cape and things like that is not live in those rooms either. Another small key for Furaime, and we head over to the vanilla big key chest.
Hey, another boomerang.
Just what we wanted to see.
I think in expert mode, if you find the red boomerang, it should replace the blue boomerang. That would be kind of mean, I think, though.
A mushroom for Furaime on the right-hand side, so that's 2 of our items, to the best of my knowledge.
I'm a bit surprised that Furaime didn't go for that clip he was practicing earlier.
Yeah, the position of that anti-fairy was making it pretty awkward. Another small key for Furaime. Furaime, of course, remembering that he doesn't have the hookshot, and therefore using the bomb to reach the big chest, which has the fire rod! Are you kidding me right now? And Furaime going ahead to turn in the mushroom as well, so we'll get to see what's here. So not a whole lot there. Alright, so Andy is now entering Swamp Palace. Oh, Andy just got the intel. The one other useful hint in the game. It's that there is a unique item in Ice Palace from the Swamp Hint.
And that's our mushroom?
No, it's the fire rod in the big chest.
It wasn't the mushroom there too?
True, the mushroom was there. So I guess if Andy finds the mushroom and then pieces out, that would be the worst. But I think he's gonna pick up the fire. And we've got...
Oh my goodness! Did you see that troll? Right off the bat.
The BMO's directly to the face. Right after the fall, we've got a compass on the left-hand side of Skullwoods. And a map, so just a whole lot of garbo over here.
Yep. And unfortunately, this is always a key still. And these spike traps are very well played.
Alright, Andy now heading to the back of Swamp Palace. I didn't see anything particularly important in the front, or in the first couple of chests, but I might have missed something. Yeah, Swamp Palace is going to be one of the least affected dungeons by Randomizer, mainly because shallow water does weird things to enemies.
surprised that there's still always these wall masters here in Skullwood.
Oh yeah, they're gonna leave all the wall masters where they are, and perhaps add more. Because why not?
Not entirely sure why they're called wall masters here, because they come from the ceiling.
I actually think the technical term for them in this game particular is clutch, is what they're called in this game. But then in Ocarina of Time, they're called wall masters, and they come from the ceiling. So,
yeah, I guess if you think about it, a ceiling is just a kind of wall.
yeah, it's just a slightly reoriented wall. Yeah, they did come from the wall in Zelda 1. We've got another Helmasaur here in Swamp, so Andy's going to take care of that.
Yep. I don't know if he mentioned this before, but this is Chaos Mode.
It's Chaos Boss Mode, yeah. That means that, you know, any number of bosses can be anywhere, basically. There's no limit on the number of bosses. There's only a few limitations on, like, what bosses can potentially be in what rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, certain bosses can't be in, like, the 4x4 rooms, like the top of Tower of Hera, or, I guess, Moldorm.
Yeah, Moldorm 2. Neither of those can be Trinex or Landmolas, I believe. And then Trinex also can't be in Moth's room because it's just too small. This is Landmola's, though.
Honestly, looking at the items, we're potentially in no mode, right?
Yeah, it is entirely possible that this is all we need. Now, of course, if we run into a Trinex, we'll need Ice Rod.
I am so glad that these spikes do not move in Randomizer.
Yeah, the spikes will only move if Moth is in here. Because the spike movement is actually part of Moth's script.
Yep. You can even see spikes move in certain boss arenas if Moth is there. I don't think if it's like a normal arena like this that spikes will appear, but if it's in like the top of Tower of Hera, you can see them like in the margins.
Alright, so Andy taking that knowledge about the unique item in Ice Palace and heading there, he's going to be rewarded with the Fire Rod should he reach the big chest. Do you fancy silver-tipped arrows on the pedestal?
I think that's definitely worth getting, right?
I mean, yeah. It's an all dungeon siege. You got to do all the pendants anyway. I'd probably get it.
I was just thinking of the 20-something slashes or spins versus the walk to the pedestal and also the animation of grabbing the pedestal item.
Yeah, 24 spins versus that. Good question.
I'm like 90% sure it's worth.
₹50 for Furaime in the big chest of Skullwoods. That's gonna do it for Skullwoods.
Yep, Andy is looking a little low on hearts right now. Needs to be a bit more careful. He's gonna get at least one from this room if he doesn't die to a Hinox.
Alright, so it looks like Furaime is gonna go ahead and try to head to... Ooh! Andy takes a beating and is gonna have to start Ice Palace over again. That's the thing with Ice Palace, it's kind of awful. And it gets worse in Randomizer.
Yeah, dying in Ice Palace is one of the worst feelings. Even like relatively early on, like that. Hey, we got another bird.
Alright, so Furaime is now heading up to Death Mountain, into the dark side here. He is going to check the tablet, though I believe we've once again established, due to these bugs, we can't actually have progression items on tablets because of that sword situation again.
Alright, so Furaime having the fire rod, it looks like he's going to be heading over towards Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
The only thing about that is he doesn't have the ability to grab the Canis Maria. Wait, no, he can't. Wait.
So, no, the only thing, unless he has some hover skills of his own, the only thing he's going to get out of Hookshot Cave is the 20 rupee.
Yeah.
We know that the cane and the cape are both in there, so this is going to be a little unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Furaime hover. Maybe he does now.
It's always theoretically possible. There was a time when I pulled it off, so if I can do it, basically anybody can.
Yeah, it would be incredibly hype if he did the hover and got the cane there in that second chest. Because then he could go directly into Turtle Rock and probably clear it.
Andy, of course, had no trouble with the Ice Palace bomb jump because he didn't do it.
Yeah, you don't need to do it if you have the Canis Maria. It's going to take a little bit longer, but...
Well, no, he just hovered it.
Oh, sorry, yeah. That too. I'm just fixated on Furaime to see if he goes for the hover.
Alright, so the bonk to the lower chest.
Aww.
Oh. Okay, got the heart. I was about to get excited, but yeah. Alright. Also looks like we might see a Spike Cave play. Piece of heart in Spike Cave, so
I mean,
again, I want them, but it's not going to get Furaime any closer to beating this seed. Andy pulling off the excellent little graphical glitch there with a hammer dash to destroy that pot, but not actually destroy it in its sprite. So he got he hit the switch without killing the pot. Except that the pot is actually just not there, it's just not displaying correctly.
Yeah. I guess this is Furaime checking up on Catfish and also Zora. We know, I don't believe anything useful there. But both of our runners actually threw Catfish the flower today, you know, showing him some love. Even if he'll never show us love back.
There is that. Alright, so Andy is just a few seconds away from finding our amazing fire rod in Ice Palace like it's supposed to be. I mean, that's the rule. If you get the bomb boasted medallion, you know, reasonably early, fire rod's in ice. That's just the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
This advice, of course, is subject to change. So subject to terms and conditions. Anyway. Alright, Andy acquires the fire rod and is going to make his way toward the boss of Ice Palace. He's going to head for the fairy room first. As soon as he can get there in one piece. Ooh, he's going to... Oh!
No!
Looked like he was going to try to pause buffer around that anti-fairy, but it just didn't get the job done.
That was absolutely terrible for Andy, and even more unfortunately, Furaime now has the hook shots, so he is almost even. I mean, the problem is that I think Furaime might skip out on Hookshot Cave until he has the ability to actually enter Turtle Rock, and we know that that's, you know, an impossibility.
I mean, he's clearly going to go for Swamp here.
Yeah. But yeah, you gotta feel for anybody who dies that deep into Ice Palace.
Yeah, that being said, the chat making a good point. Furaime also has to go back through Ice Palace. He didn't finish it, he just got the items.
Mm-hmm. And Swamp Palace, I mean, for the most part, will probably be a lot more, you know, chill than some of these dungeons have been. Like you said earlier, a lot of enemies don't behave very well when it comes to the shallow water. Or at all, really. They'll just sort of sit there.
My favorite one is like the thieves who will literally just run away from you.
Alright, Andy back into the bowels of Ice Palace once more, whereas Furaime is retracing some of his steps through Swamp Palace. I don't think anything good was here. It's just a crystal you gotta do. And if Furaime got the hint that left side isn't required, it's at least not going to be very long.
Alright, so this time Andy managed to reach the penultimate rooms of Swamp or Ice Palace without taking any damage, and so won't have to chance going up to the fairy room. So there very well could be plenty of situations that would require the ice rod or other, or really just the ice rod, which is the thing we haven't found yet. And I still don't know if anybody's checked Bumper Cave.
Do not believe so. I don't think Furaime went over there. He was the person who's probably closest to it.
All right, so Landmo at Cold Stare. That is probably a welcome sight after that nightmare that was Ice Palace for Andy.
So, yeah, this seed is pairing up our bosses pretty well. We've had 2 Helmosaurs, 2 Landmolas. What else? A Blind, an Argus, Moldor.
Yep. Haven't seen any Cold Stares, haven't seen any Vitreous. Seen a couple of Helmas. Yeah, the real heavy hitters are MIA today.
Yep. Furaime finding the big key in the backside here opts to go back. Not a bad idea. In fact, he did that first, assuming or hoping that the big key would be there, because he didn't even check these 2 chests. So a tiny little bit of optimization he got, mostly due to luck. I mean, due to luck in his routing.
So we got the 1 full heart container in the game in the back of Swamp in those 2 chests. We just see 5 rupees in the big chest. Alright, Andy now heading to face off against Argus here in Thieves Town. As we know, that's the boss he's going to face. Probably going to use some... okay, he's using some poke dash strats here.
Yep, so if you do a spin speed, or if you prime your spin speed while you have your sword held out, you can do poke damage, but instead of doing poke damage, you're doing your slash damage, which is typically double. So if you have tempered sword, that means you can one-shot those puffs, which is really nice. In this case, it's just 2-shot.
Alright, Furaime now facing off against Helmasaur in Swamp as Andy gets into Thieves Town. Finishes off that crystal. Still 3 more dungeons plus Ganon's Tower, plus Aga Tower for Andy to complete. But we expect Andy to go ahead and head up to Skull Woods real quick.
Will Andy check Bumper Cave? No. Of course not. Who checks Bumper Cave? So, I mean, if you're Furaime, where do you go next? You cannot clear Misery Mire. You can go into it and, check all the items, looking for that rod.
So if you're Furaime, you've got a couple of choices. You can head into Misery Mire without the cane. You can head back up to the top, Death Mountain, which is where he needs to go, or you can do what he's doing right now and check Bumper Cave.
No, I think he might actually just be
he's
finishing
going to do
Thieves Town.
But he might check Bumper Cave afterwards, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he might even check it before. There's also, Ice Palace, which he, I think, cleared out, but he still needs to go back in to finish off Vitreous, or rather, Landmola's. So he has 2 dungeons right now, which is essentially just cleanup. Misery Mire, he can't complete until he goes up to the mountain, and Turtle Rock, he also cannot do anything about until he goes up to the mountain. So, the sooner he goes up to the mountain, the better it is for Furaime. Whereas Andy is kind of just on track for beast moding through the rest of the dungeons. Unless he comes up against a Trinex, which is looking less and less likely at this point.
Basically, it could be in actual Trinex. It could be in Misery Mire, which would be interesting. Trinex in Misery Mire completely rules out any sort of strats from the back, which doesn't really help you with the Master Sword anyway, but still. Nicely done with 4 Fire Rod shots for Furaime to finish off Argus, and Andy finishing off Landmo.
Yeah, that was an incredible fight. That poke strat is, I think it's probably a lot harder than it looks, just because there's a lot of timing involved as well, so you don't actually lose your poke.
Andy taking a mirror here and not checking the pedestal, as we are thoroughly unsurprised. Furaime not bothering with the Bumper Cave check, just heading into ice again.
So that's actually an advantage Furaime could have. He's a bit behind right now, but every little bit helps. And having those silvers might give him a slight edge, a little bit, not a huge edge.
I imagine these runners are practiced enough with their Ganon fights that it's not going to make a huge difference in terms of time. No one's going to fall to Ganon because they don't have the silvers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I might have just jinxed them, but let's pretend I didn't.
Yeah. So it seems like the story of this race is that I think Furaime had a bit of an advantage until the hookshot became, a thing. Like, Andy had some earlier deaths that I think put him a bit behind, but Furaime has been doing a lot of stuff that he hasn't really needed to be doing. Or some like slight inefficiencies in routing that he wouldn't have had he had the hookshot.
All right, big key for Andy in the most convenient location. Does the hover across the bridges?
Oh,
and there we go.
Wow, that is. Yeah, that's a godmire right there.
Oh, and Furaime is once again electing not to do the bomb jump.
That is a bit odd. I mean, he's low on health, but... And he still doesn't have the cane, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, if he goes this way, he's going to have to go quite a bit out of his way to finish the dungeon.
Alright, time to see what's at Vitreous and whether or not it's a Trinex. Looks like Andy had a little bit of trouble hitting the crystal switch. Not that big of a deal, though.
Alright. Oh, Lionel in narrow passageway, number 17.
And it's a Moldorm.
It's Boron again.
I agree, it is kind of a boring boss. Especially in a room like this.
And down goes Trolldorm again. Ice Rod on Vitreous, or in the Vitreous location.
Wow.
For Andy, that's gonna... I mean, now he's like in actual go mode.
Yeah, that is actual factual go mode. Less silver arrows, but nobody needs those.
Furaime gonna go for the fairy room as well. Has a little more health to actually pull it off, and will manage to fill up their life before heading to the boss. Now, unfortunately, Furaime is gonna have to go all the way around through Ice Tea Room, past the hookshot room again, and all those sorts of things just to get back to the left-hand side so we can push the block.
Yeah, this is not something you typically see in a randomizer race, but if you're not as familiar with the vanilla game, this is kind of what you do.
Yeah, if you're used to seeing Ice Palace Bomb Jump, this is why you do Ice Palace Bomb Jump, because it's a pain to do it the intended way.
Honestly, like, this dungeon is kind of like a masterclass in design. If it weren't for that bomb jump, it would be... I don't know. I think it would be considered one of the better Zelda dungeons, just for enduring quality. But now that I know that the bomb jump exists, it just seems kind of annoying. But now, Andy actually able to go grab the key on the right side here and continue further into the dungeon. No rollers in the roller room.
Yeah, this is one of the rooms that tends to get a little bit easier in Randomizer, as well as that chain chomp room in the back here.
Yeah, it's always fun in Randomizer to see rooms that are incredibly easy in vanilla becoming absolute nightmares, and rooms that are absolute nightmares like this becoming like just soft and cuddly. Get a free ice cream cone by coming in.
I think the free ice cream cone is on Landmo here.
Oh yeah.
All right, Andy gonna go pick up the free key from the pokey. Except it's not a pokey today; it's a help.
I still love the Pugs bunny sprite, the little bunny costume.
The ice rod was on Moldorm, which was at the Vitreous location.
I like that little knowledge by Andy. So there are those I don't know what the enemies are called, the little like shadow skittering enemies, but they're actually vulnerable even if you don't see them. And Andy knew exactly where they were going to spawn, and was able to hit them with the hook shot. It was possible that they were Salphos or something that were falling from the sky, but he was lucky enough that they were both those enemies.
Feels good, man. All right, Furaime finally heading back up to Death Mountain. Luckily, not heading into Misery Mire before heading up here. So that's gonna, thank heaven for small favors. But Andy's pretty much got a commanding lead at this point.
That is correct. Yeah, again, I think it's just that Furaime didn't get the hookshot. That's the biggest difference. Andy's actually going to check the last chest in here.
I think he might be checking it, hoping for silvers, right?
Yeah, he could be looking for silvers. He could be looking for a heart piece, maybe.
He may actually... Okay, no, he's not going to do that. Okay, I got the cane, unleashed a slash of disapproval at that chest, and heads on out.
It's a little sad, because even if Andy were in the similar situation, he would have been able to hover that and would have gotten the cane. But I mean, it's hovering is a skill. It's really, really difficult. I don't think I'd ever be able to do it.
All right, both of our runners now in the same dungeon. There is that. But Andy is now up against Cold Stare at the Trinex location. Gonna use Bombo strats. Perfectly valid strat here, especially because the Fire Rod is going to deal some sick damage to this. Also, Cold Stare takes damage from spikes.
Right, because he takes Gold Sword damage, or Fire Rod damage, I guess, in this case, from hitting one of those spikes, right? If you slash him in. But yeah, that is it. So there's a game we like to play. Would you like to explain?
Oh, yes. So, there are 22 possible locations where the big key can be in Ganon's Tower. Get your guesses in quickly, because we'll be cutting it off pretty soon.
Yeah.
If you, of course, are a supporter of the channel, either through a subscription or 250 bits or more, actually to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you can be added to our leaderboard, but otherwise, feel free to play along either way, and we'll be stopping this as soon as Andy enters the tower on our screen, which is very soon.
All right, so where do you think this key is going to be?
Well, my contractually obligated guess is always Bob's chest.
And why is it called Bob's chest?
Well, it's called Bob's chest because there's a little anti-fairy that spawns next to it who has a graphical glitch if you leave this item on the torch here.
Which we might be seeing now.
That is true. The name Bob predates my involvement with the randomizer. It has nothing to do with me.
I mean, you just look at the guy and it's obvious it's a Bob, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we are currently about
There it is.
7.
Number 7.
One
Andy
off.
heading on upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, it was me.
Oh-ho! Congratulations.
I always go 8. That's my number, and heck, anybody who doesn't respect that tries to take it for themselves. Anyway, Andy, going upstairs, the final ascent into Ganon's tower, the Tower of Pingus.
Interestingly enough, all of the enemies in this room would die in one hit to the hookshot, which Andy's actually switching to now. So there we go.
This room is looking a little, oh, never mind. Looks like there's some BMOS that we can't see.
Oh, and a wall master in the ceiling. You gotta watch out for that. Heading into Ganon Ball Run. Very nice, managing to dash down and then keep from falling.
Yep, we got Sandman coming out of conveyor belts. That's a really obnoxious place for one of those skitterers. And this is kind of almost a vanilla room. But there is a hidden sand. Well, this is a really tame gauntlet so far.
Yeah, the gauntlet is being pretty nice. We will get to see what sort of unholy nightmare the next boss unleashes on us.
Yeah, this is probably the softest gauntlet I've seen in quite some time. Yeah, that was 10 ply.
Another troll dorm.
Wow, and a Boldorb to finish off Gauntlet?
It's like they want this to be easy.
A bit anticlimactic, but we'll see what the rest of the rooms look like.
We got a Gibdo here, which will not fall off the edge no matter what you want to do, so you will not be able to knock him off. More Gibdos and Hinoxes this time. Making use of
I'd like to see
Hinox bombs to attack the Gibdo. Seems good.
I'd like to see Breath of the Wild Link take on 3 Hinox at a time. You know, just to you know, prove dominance of Link to the Past over Breath of the Wild.
Seems entirely legit. Alright, so Andy now making his way down the collapsing hallway and into the torch room. So there's one enemy in the torch room. Today it looks like... well, I don't see it yet.
It's something.
Maybe it's an enemy that would have spawned on that block but can't. Furaime has made his way into Ganon's tower, finally finishing off Misery Mire. Now, the Ganon's tower climb, we're going to fight Aga 2, and then everyone's going to be real excited. But unfortunately, there will be a... No, they both did Aga.
Yeah,
so never mind.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we're going straight to Ganon.
It's like a Christmas miracle for all dungeons.
Oh, wait. No, maybe he didn't. Maybe he hasn't beat Misery Mire. You don't have to beat Misery Mire to get into GT.
Maybe you just forgot.
Andy just saying goodbye to Helmasaur. He's like, nah.
It's a valid, valid way through that. And Furaime's gonna get that key, go upstairs.
That is, of course, the 6th location for Furaime.
I think Andy only got one hit there.
That looked like a single to me. And again.
These are some interesting patterns so far.
This looks pretty good. Oh! That's unfortunate. Alright, there's a double. And that
Do
should be
not
5
die.
hits.
Do not die to Aga 2.
So 1-1-1-2-1 as Andy prepares for his fight against Ganon. Just the idea of beating an expert Randomizer in under 2 hours, especially in All Dungeons 1, is just unbelievable to me. Andy getting the double spin off the trident there. Should be up to 7 spins for this phase. Need a total of 12 to progress to the next phase. And that should do it.
Yep. Gonna have to make liberal use of these hookshot strats to survive these fire bats. Or maybe not, just run around them.
Andy on 5 hits in phase 2. Now 6. Up to 7. Hasn't landed in a spot where you can get decent double hits. It's going to take him to 10. 2 more hits will begin phase 3.
Yeah, that was a...
Oh! And Andy takes the beating.
Ouch!
I think that might be a little late, and it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was unlucky because Ganon was in a good spot to get some doubles up there, or at least just, be in relative safety. And unfortunately, the greed got Andy. So take 2.
Alright, once again, 7 hits, 8 hits. Got one in right there at the end. Up to 9 now. And 10 here in phase 1. That's 11. And now we're phase 2. That's 5 hits so far in phase 2. And hitting up the sick dodges. And Andy lands himself in Magical Christmas Land in the top right corner, right next to Ganon. He's still short 1 hit, I think. Nope, I am wrong. I can't count.
Yep. So Andy, I mean, the final phase is long without silvers, but it's still... I think it's probably safer if you're practiced than dealing with fire.
And you definitely will want to go ahead and get the torch glitch with the lamp, because if you use the fire rod the entire time, you're going to have a real hard time beating Ganon. You have to be absolutely perfect.
Yeah, Andy is also going for triple spins here on each lamp cycle, which is easier said than done, honestly. Like, he's making it look real simple, but I can say it's probably anything but.
Oh, there's the enemy in the torch room, which Furaime found because he walked down below the block. Andy is just nailing this Ganon fight.
Oh my goodness, this is a clinic in how to dishonor the heck out of Ganon.
This is Andy's Cooking 101, how to make bacon.
Turns out all you needed is a sword and I guess a lamp.
And down goes Ganon. That was that double hit on the first one, like 7 consecutive triple hits, and then another one hit.
Yep, and that is GG.
All of them. And Andy is officially finished with a final time of, good lord, I have to scroll way up, 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 13 seconds.
Yep, and we'll see if we can get him in sometime soon. Furaime having a fun time here.
Also, the situation with Helmasaur here doing interesting things to the bombs he was attempting to use to get the mask off. Of course, having the mask off, or getting the mask off with the bombs, is something you can do, and something that a lot of people wouldn't have been aware. Oh, Furaime taking a death on Helmasaur at the top of Ganon's tower, and that may have been what precipitated the forfeit right after Andy finished.
So, I mean, I don't want to go up Ganon's tower again and then have to do Misery Mire. But, yeah, I could definitely see the forfeit.
All right, so we are now joined by Andy. Congratulations on this win.
Yo, thanks. It was a lot of fun. I liked it.
So let's just throw this out there for one thing. Expert Randomizer in sub 2 is probably the most ridiculous thing I can ever think to happen.
Yeah, my practice seed yesterday was a 250, so I was definitely happy to not have another one.
Did you say 215 or 250?
50.
Ooh,
gross.
So this was a pleasantly refreshing expert randomizer.
The bosses involved were not, like awful. You didn't have any Vitreous, you didn't have any Trinex. You didn't have any cold stare in bad places. Like the cold stare that you did have was actually really merciful. The room very wide, and of course you got those spikes that it takes damage from.
Yeah, I only having to double dip one dungeon, and that dungeon being Thieves Town because of the boss, is like ideal scenario for sure.
Absolutely. So Furaime actually went into Ice Palace fairly early, got the fire rod, and then, so we were like, wow, fire rod in Ice Palace, that seems good. And then like a few minutes later, you went into Swamp and got the hint, and we're like, oh, well, we know where he's going.
Yeah, it played out to the way I routed pretty well. Like Ice Palace that early is definitely a decent play with how many hints it has. But I don't know. I didn't want to go into Pod. Pod is like a super time-consuming boss to go check, so I kind of prioritized various overworld things once I did like desert and stuff after Thieves Town.
It turns out that
it ended up working out really well.
All garbo. They were all straight garbage. And the other problem with Furaime is it was that one sort of out of the way location, the King's Tomb, with the hookshot in it. That was really what held Furaime back, because he, went up to Death Mountain without the hookshot and left the cane and the cape in Hookshot Cave.
Oh yeah,
unfortunate.
Yeah, overall it was a fun seed. Dealing with the early Lionels was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we decided that this seed decided to put Lionels in every narrow corridor ever.
Yeah. Taking that early death in in sewer was fun. I was like, when I got to that room, I was so surprised that the mini hallway in sewer was so nice that I was like, maybe this room will be nice too. And then I dashed right into a Lionel.
I think both of you did that.
And then completely forgetting that Kane doesn't work in expert mode, I pulled that bad boy out and walked into the Lionel in Aga Tower. So that was fun. Chat got to see that it in fact does not work in expert mode.
Yeah,
other than that,
it does do damage, but that's about it.
Yeah, that Ice Palace was terrible, and
yeah,
that's all I have to say about that.
I mean, let's be fair. Most people would struggle with that Ice Palace.
Yeah, the room right before Ice Tea Room was it was pretty crazy. I'm surprised I didn't die in there the first time, honestly.
And of course that anti-fairy blocking your way to the ferry that you were trying to get on the way up, that was kind of the worst.
I could have survived that. I thought I could get around it, and I wanted to save my blue potion for whatever reason, but I could have definitely gotten my blue potion off in time with the pause. But I decided to try and save it, and then paid the price. But learning experience. I'm sure this won't be the last Randomizer that I see in the rest of the tournament.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you guys are playing again tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, same time.
Roughly the same time.
Potentially the same place. All dungeons, expert inverted.
Mm-hmm. Same situation, except the variation is a little different. And you did go ahead and make the sword randomized, I believe. So it's not... I know a lot of people will pick Uncle Assured on inverted just to make it harder. Or at least to make the opening harder.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely like inverted for the potential swordless openings that you can deal with, but I don't like just straight up swordless when expert is also involved, because swordless and not having a way to stun anything is terrible, and I hate it.
It can make for some really difficult dungeons later on.
I'm okay with some dumb early swordless stuff, but gotta put it away after a little while.
All right. Now, Ruble, I feel like I've been monopolizing the microphone. Do you have anything you'd like to ask?
I mean, not really. I mean, I think like both of you had some pretty costly deaths, and it kind of went back and forth for a while. And I think the fact that you got the hook shot and Furaime didn't for a while was a pretty big factor. later on, and also hovering. Like hovering came in play in a pretty huge way because the bomb jump wouldn't have worked. I didn't even realize that until Furaime was talking in the chat.
Yeah, apparently that's a thing. In certain types of Randomizer, with enemies around, the bomb will push you upward instead of downward.
So Furaime ended up doing a caneless, bomb jumpless Ice Palace twice. Which
it's not fun. And sometimes impossible without the game. So
yeah, and honestly, like for you, like if you didn't have the hook shot the first time you went up to Death Mountain, you could have just got the cane. So
yeah, I really didn't want to go the long way around, just because that sucks. But yeah, just the me putting off pod and putting in overworld stuff, just hoping I got like something to potentially kill more bosses. Definitely played in my favor.
Yeah, Furaime definitely went to Palace of Darkness Eastern like right away. They didn't really pay off, even though it really seemed like they would have with the items we had.
Other than that Bombos medallion, but it wasn't like behind the bow or anything.
Yeah. So,
of course, when you get Bombos early, where's the fire rod? It's an Ice Palace. That's how it works.
Yeah. Going through Ice Palace because I had gotten that hint in Swamp, and I got the mushroom, and I'm like, well, that's not really what I wanted. And then Fire Rod was the very next thing I opened, yeah,
pretty soon after anyway. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, okay. But yeah, you thought you were gonna get jebaited for a second. Is it like a double jebait? Is that what happens? It's a jebaited. All right. So once again, I want to thank both of our runners, Furaime and Andy, for putting on an excellent show today. And I also want to thank our tracker, Mr. Iceman F1, for dealing with the icons today. And of course, my co-commentator, Rubel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And of course, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, the best way to support those involved is to give them a follow here on Twitch. I'm sure everybody would appreciate that. Before we wrap things up, anything else you all would like to say?
Looking forward to tomorrow.
From our room. Go ahead.
I just said looking forward to tomorrow. Should be fun.
All right. An inverted expert seed does sound like a pretty interesting watch. All right. So, with that, I think it's about time to wrap things up here. We've got plenty more action in this tournament left. A few more games this round, and then the semifinals and finals, which will all be best of 5. So stay tuned for all of those. And yeah, so with that, it's about time to wrap things up. So I will just say that I have been Dr. Bobtastic.
And I've been Rubel.
And we'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.